Parshas Metzora Shabbos HaGadol, the Shabbos 1 week before Pesach. At least this year we have a complete week still until Pesach. So we'll, Emir Hashem, get in a shir about Pesach next Thursday night after your Bedikas Chametz. You come here and we'll be ready to juice you up with some good stuff to say for Pesach. So what is Shabbos HaGadol? Shabbos HaGadol, the great Shabbos, the big Shabbos. And being that this week is actually known as Shabbos HaGadol, I'd like to begin with something that the Nesivos Shalom, actually not in this week's Parsha and last week's Parsha and Parsha Sazria, tells us about Shabbos. I mean, if it's the great Shabbos, it must mean that Shabbos is great, and this is the greatest of the great Shabbosos. So let's talk a little bit about something about Shabbos. And it's actually really a very important lesson as we approach the Yontiv of Pesach, and also for life in general, a beautiful lesson from the Nesivos Shalom. In Parshas Ba'aloischa, going to be coming up in about 2 months, Parshas Ba'aloischa, the Torah tells us, the Torah talks about the Chatzotzros, where they blew trumpets in the Midbar, and the Pasuk says as follows, Uviyoim simchaschem uvemoyadechem. When do you blow? The Torah tells us on the day of Simcha and on the day of your holidays, on the day of Yom Tovim. And those are the times when the Chatzotzros were blown. So Chazal, in the Sifri, Chazal tell us that what is Uviyoim Simchaschem? Uviyoim Simchaschem, says Chazal, Elu HaShabbosos. These are the Shabbosos. And when the Shabbosos, that is one of the times that the Chatzotzros were blown. Shabbos is referred to, as we see, Shabbos is referred to as a Yom Simcha. Ubiyoim Simchaschem, meaning Elu HaShabbosos, it tells us that Shabbos is a Yom Simcha, a day of happiness. Why? Why is Shabbos a day of happiness? So Chazal tell us, Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, ois hili olam. It's a sign, it's a connection, one of the strongest connections that connects us, Klal Yisrael, to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That bond, that great connection creates a tremendous simcha. So Shabbos is known, Uviyoim Simchaschem. Shabbos becomes a very, very joyous and a very happy day. And the Be'er Avraham brings from the Saba Kadisha Mislanim, Zechusi Yogan Aleinu, something very, very important to know and something very interesting. And he says like this, that the Midas HaSimcha, there are different midos. We know the way a person is supposed to conduct themselves. The Midas HaSimcha is actually an all-encompassing midah that does wonders for a person. And many of you know, I'm sure many of you have felt that when a person is happy, when a person perfects and works on the Midas HaSimcha, it really, really does tremendous things for a person. Mamish does wonders for a human being. And we can reach extremely, very, very lofty heights and madregos through simcha. It's one of the conduits, one of the ways that a person can actually really, really grow and do things that are above their actual madrega. It helps you grow. And the Sfarim HaKadoshim tell us something fascinating. The Sfarim HaKadoshim tell us that the opposite of simcha, atzvus, where a person is down, a person is being down, a person is depressed, you should know atzvus, the midah of atzvus, is not an avera. It doesn't say anywhere if you look through the halacha, you look through the Torah, it doesn't tell you anywhere that atzvus, that being down and being depressed, is usher. We never find that. We don't find that anywhere. However, through atzvus, even though it's not an aveira, through atzvus, through being down, it can cause a person to do every aveira. While it's not an aveira in itself to be down, but if a person is down and you allow yourself to be down, and you don't work on picking yourself back up, through atzvus, through being down and depressed, a person can come to do any aveira, to really descend many madregos. And so too, on the flip side of that, with what we were speaking about before, the midah of simcha is not a mitzvah. Unless you ask someone from Breslov, they created a song, of course, mitzvah gedolah liyas b'simcha, but we don't see anywhere besides where the Torah tells us to be b'simcha on Yom Tov, but we don't see anywhere that simcha in itself is inherently a mitzvah. Only by Yom Tovim. We don't see anywhere that simcha is a mitzvah. Yet, the Mefarshim tell us that if a person has midas hasimcha and acts with simcha, behaves with simcha, and lives with happiness and lives his life b'simcha, that can bring a person to all the mitzvahs. So while atzvus is not an avera, it can bring a person down. It can bring a person to do any avera. And while simcha is not really a mitzvah, if a person has simcha in their life, it brings them to many mitzvahs and to all mitzvahs. And therefore on Shabbos, when we say in Kegavna, on Shabbos we say, Kol Shultane Rugzin Umar Dedina, all bad influences, the Satan, the Yetzer Hara, when it comes to Shabbos, when it comes to this day of Simcha, when people behave with Simcha, everything goes away. All the Yetzer Hara, all the bad influences go away from a person, because Shabbos is a day of Simcha. And within Simcha, there's a koyach of Kedusha where all negative influences leave and go away. Simcha actually creates wonders. And that would also give us some insight into why Chazal were misakein on Pesach to specifically Keneged. We know we have the Arba Lashonis of Geula in the Torah. We have 4 Lashonis, right, of Geula in the Torah. And Keneged that, Chazal specifically were misakein Dalet Koises, 4 cups of wine, to correspond to the Dalet Shonis of Geula. Why would they pick 4 cups of wine? Maybe they should have told you to do something else. Do 4 other things that correspond to the Dalet Shonis of Geula. So Mefarshim tell us, Nesivos Shalom says, that wine represents Simcha. And the Chazal wanted to take something, v'yayin yisamach levav enosh. They wanted to take something which gladdens a person's heart, something that has to do with Simcha. So they took cups of wine, and those are Keneged, those represent the Dalet L'Shonis of Geula. That the koyach of Simcha within the Dalet Koises can extricate us from all the koyches of Tumah that we may have fallen into. It's there specifically for a reason. The Torah S.S.S. tells us something amazing. And he says like this, and this is really something that everybody should listen to, because it's one of the keys, one of the beautiful things throughout the Sfarim of the Nesivos Shalom. This is what really an amazing piece of advice. And the Torah S.S.S. tells us that a Jew who is Sameach B'chelkai, we all know Sameach B'chelkai means you're happy with your lot, you're happy with what you have, you're content with what Hashem has given you. And if a person is Sameach B'chelkai, if a person is happy with whatever Hashem has given him, then Midah Keneged Midah, we know, Midah Keneged Midah, Hashem acts with you the way you are happy with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Hashem acts, we all know that every single one of us, none of us is exactly what Hashem had in mind for us. What Hashem wants us to be or expects from us. No one's perfect. No one does everything up to their potential. So comes the Nesivos Shalom and he brings from the Torah Savos that if we are happy with what Hashem is doing for us, if we are happy with what Hashem has given us, then so too Hashem looks at us, and although we're not living up to all Hashem's expectations at every moment, He'll be happy with us. That's midah keneged midah. If we're besimcha, if we're happy and we say this is our lot, this is what Hashem has given us, then midah keneged midah, Hashem acts that way with us. Dafka, because we treat Hashem the same way. And that's the pasuk v'yom simchaschem elu hashabbosos. The days of Simcha, that is Shabbos. The holy avodah of Shabbos is this lesson, Dafka. This lesson that we should be happy and content that on Shabbos we should think about what we got the entire week before, and we should be content with what Hashem has dealt us. And to look back at the 6 days of the week and say whatever Hashem gave us in Parnasa, in whatever it may be, whatever Hashem gave us, we're happy. We're sameach. We're happy with us. And if we do that, then Hashem turns around Kaviyachal and He's content and He's happy with us too. And the Yontif of Pesach, as we know, is called Shabbos. In the pasuk also, Usfartem lachem imacharas haShabbos. When we talk about Sfira, we speak on the day after Shabbos. Pesach is referred to as Shabbos also. And on Pesach, therefore, we have this tremendous siyata d'shmaya also. We have the koyach to bring geula to the world through simcha, through being happy with everything that we have in our lives, being happy with what Hashem has given us. On Pesach especially, we have the opportunity to do that and get the bracha of Hashem that He should be happy with us. And what amazing opportunity that is. And I was thinking that with the Yontif of Pesach just about a week away, we have a couple of special opportunities that are coming together to learn and to internalize this lesson of simcha, of just plain being happy with what you have in life, the lesson of happiness, the lesson that we're supposed to learn every Shabbos, and the lesson that especially on this Shabbos, Shabbos HaGadol, the great Shabbos, we have to remember that lesson on this great Shabbos. And this year, we have a special opportunity that not only do we have Shabbos HaGadol this week, but next week, the Yontif of Pesach, which is Mimacharas HaShabbos, the Yontif of Pesach actually falls out the Seder night. The first day of Pesach is on Shabbos. We begin Pesach on Shabbos too. So it all comes together. And when it all comes together, especially, we need to remember this midah of Simcha, although it may not be an actual one of the mitzvahs of the Torah, this midah of Simcha can lead one and lead us to so many different mitzvahs. It's a time of the year to reflect on just how much chesed Hashem does with us every day, and to focus on that. Sometimes we get lost and we always look at the things that we perceive to be negative or things that are not working out exactly the way we want it, especially this Shabbos. Uv'yoyim simchaschem. Let's on this Shabbos look and focus from this Shabbos straight till Pesach, straight till next Shabbos. Let's focus in on this midah to be happy with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything that we have. Even that, if we do that, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be happy with us, even in our imperfect state. The lesson of Shabbos HaGadol, the lesson to think about for the next week, and the lesson coming up to next Shabbos, which will be the first day of Pesach.